Tell us a little bit about how Beneil got into MMA, man.
Well,
let's say if a Mayweather or Logan Paul, one of these guys says, "Hey Benny, offering you $20 million, $50 million for a boxing match."
it should be like a 50-50. The UFC makes 50% of it, and then the athletes make 50%. For me, martial arts is what kind of grounded me in California. If it wasn't for martial arts, I probably would have left here. I didn't actually become a believer until I would say my early 20s, and that was all, moving from jiu-jitsu into MMA. That I really believe it was God who moved me into MMA.
Neither one of us are MMA fighters.
We're not.
We're not. We're not used to getting punched in the face. What goes through like your mind and your body when you get clipped like that?
So,
Speaking of Conor, do you think that he's ever going to step into the ring?
there is one more thing possible.
What is it?
If Dustin Poirier wins, the UFC, and then Poirier all of a sudden starts pushing for that fight, I think the UFC would make it happen.
You think so? He left the chapter of his MMA career unfinished, if in my opinion.
That's the only reason why I'm in the sport is to be a champion. I'm not here just to fight.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us, bro.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, bro. And every time I come here, I get a request from my mother to go to Paradise Bakery to pick up some bread. So it's a dual purpose trip.
It's funny. Off the air, we were sitting down, we were chit chatting, and I was like, the first time I saw Benny fight was in 2015, and it was against Jim Miller.
Mm-hmm.
And you see Beneil Dariush, and as Armenians, you see the last name Dariush, you think Iran, Persian. And then I was like, this guy's not Persian, because he's fighting under the American flag.
Yeah.
So he's either Assyrian or he's something else. And lo and behold, you go in and you find out the history behind Beneil Dariush, Assyrian.
Yeah.
So Armenians and Assyrians have a lot in common. Christians, we unfortunately went through the genocide in 1915 as well. That's one thing that a lot of people don't know, is that the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish Empire, did not only kill and massacre 1.5 million Armenians, but they also went through and massacred Assyrians
and Greeks. Those were the three major groups. There was others as well, but those were the three major groups.
Major groups, yeah. So tell us a little bit about how Beneil got into MMA, man.
Well, I was 18 years old, and I didn't really want to be fat, so I decided that's really it.
Were you fat though? Or?
No, but here's the thing: I was not a big fan of the gym, and I'm about to turn 18 and go to college, and everybody's like, "What is it, freshman 15?" And they start scaring me about this stuff. You're gonna party, you're gonna have a good time, and you're just gonna study. That's what you do in school. And I was like, this sounds horrible. But I was like, well, I got to stay in shape. I hate going to the gym. I'll try jiu-jitsu. I had wrestled for a month in high school, and I was like, oh, this is actually not as gay as I thought, and this was really fun. Because when I was 14, the wrestling coach, and I was at Esperanza High School, and he came up to me and he's like, hey, do you want to be, do you want to try wrestling? I was like, nah, I'm gonna go do soccer. Wrestling's kind of gay. That was my response. And then when I was 17, right about when I was about to turn 18, it was my last year in high school. I was kind of not like a big troublemaker, but a little bit of a troublemaker. I had gotten kicked off the soccer team just because the coach wanted a younger generation. We were troublemakers. So I was no longer on the soccer team. I was pretending to be part of the track and field team just so I can go home early. You literally went in, did a little like one or two things, and then just took off. So it was like an early day for me. And my buddy comes to me, and he had finished wrestling and football, and he decided to go to wrestling for some reason. And this is his senior year as well. His name is Nick Gonzalez, and he comes to me, he's like, bro, you got to do wrestling. It's so fun. I was like, bro, that's gay. I'm not doing wrestling. and it's so funny because that's how you're a child and you're immature, because he's like, no, bro, you're gay. You're going to do it. I was like, fine, I'll do it. I'm not gay. Like in reverse psychology at that age, it works so easy. So I went in, I did my first practice. I didn't know anything, but just maybe it's the Iranian genetics or the whatever. But like every time I would grab somebody's head, I just squeeze as hard as I could and try to throw them. And surprisingly, I had 1 or 2 takedowns my first day in practice, and kind of fell in love with it. But there was a month of season left. I'm a senior. There was zero reason for me to be in that room except that we didn't really have a good wrestling team. We had no wrestling team, and they were just like, we'll take anybody kind of deal. So they let me go on, and I got to compete. I think I won 2 or 3 matches and lost like 7 matches. I think that was my high school
in that
career.
1 month span.
It was like 1 month, because it was season. I went in right during season. You're doing what is it called, the league, and then you have tournaments. So I was just competing and losing basically. That was my career for wrestling, high school wrestling, and then I loved it, but that was it. And then time to go to college. Don't want to get fat, and I was like, well, jiu-jitsu is kind of like wrestling. I watch MMA. I know what it is. Let me try that.
And then the rest is history.
So I went to jiu-jitsu my first day, fell in love with it because it's not just takedowns. I get to actually submit people, or they submit me. But I fell in love with it so much. I was like, well, let me see if I could do this every day and schedule my school around it. So I started scheduling my school around it. I used to work at Baskin Robbins. I was like, I could do 3 hours here and 3 hours there with my boss. My boss was cool. He's like, yeah, that's fine. As long as you're working 6 hours a day, I don't care. So I had, college set up in a way where I could train. I had work set up in a way I could train. And, in between I was eating ice cream. So it's like the ideal 18-year-old boys, this is the dream right there. I'm training once minimum every day, and then sometimes 2. And I'm, going to school, pretending to learn, and eating ice cream. So it was really nice first year of jiu-jitsu for me.
You were destined to either be the fat kid or the jiu-jitsu guy.
This is the crazy part. Because I was eating so much ice cream, I looked malnourished. I looked like I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I was super skinny. You're young, you burn calories, whatever. So I didn't look that good. I'm competing and I'm doing pretty well, but I look like a frail, skinny kid. I quit working at Baskin Robbins at some point. I end up gaining like 15 pounds, and it's actual muscle. My posture gets better. All of a sudden, you see me standing more straight, and everybody's like, "Oh, this guy is taking steroids." I'm like, "Bro, I'm 19. What am I gonna do? Take steroids for?" But that was it. I started training more there, and then competing and I'm winning tournaments, and somehow I go from being like a white belt beginner in 4 years to competing at the highest level in like every single division. I was able to win the white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and then in my 5th year I get my black belt, and I never compete as a black belt basically because I moved into MMA. We were having some financial issues at home, and my mom was like, hey, what are we going to do? So it was either, get a job and work 9 to 5 or go fight. And, I love competing. So
What were you studying in college?
I want to say business administration. I never actually got past my general ed classes. I was not working the fastest.
So we could comfortably say that you were a college dropout.
Yeah. I was supposed to, the idea was to go into accounting because numbers make sense to me. Maybe it's a Iranian thing, but numbers always made sense. And so we're like, okay, well, accounting, long hours, I could do that. Well, that's fine. But ended up never even getting close to that.
But you're passionate about what you do because, well, not only passionate, but you're good at what you do right now. And you're not only fighting, but you're coaching as well.
Yeah. So I over the years, you start training and you realize what a good practice is, what's not a good practice, and you're like, dang, I want to have more good practices. How do I set it up? Where do I go? And then you're like, eventually, like, dang, I got to do this myself.
Yeah.
So I started finding places to train, setting up the practices, and making sure my practice is good. And all of a sudden, where I had 2 people, they're like, oh, can I come? And all of a sudden, I have 4 people, 6 people, 8 people, and I'm like, well, this seems to be an actual thing now. So ended up being a regular thing a couple of times a week. Down the line, my teammates and some of my friends are like, you should open up a gym. And at that time, my fiance is like, yeah, you should totally do that. And I ended up finding a place and opening up what's called Kings MMA in Anaheim. Small gym at that time, but now we've moved into a much bigger facility after 8 years.
Nice. And you've got an impressive resume as well, because you fought a lot of high-ranked fighters, from Jim Miller, Tony Ferguson, Oliveira, Arman Tsarukyan, and just recently, congratulations on the victory over Moicano as well. Which dude,
Michael Johnson too.
Michael Johnson
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
And dude, some of your fights are like nail biters as well, where it's like you get clipped and all of a sudden, like the legs buckle and you're just like, come on, Dariush, come on, do something.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just pull it off. And how does it feel when you're in the ring and you get clipped like that? Like, because neither one of us are MMA fighters.
We're not.
We're not. We're not used to getting punched in the face. What goes through like your mind and your body when you get clipped like that?
So, as far as my MMA history goes, if my lights don't go out and somebody hurts me, it ends up working in the opposite direction for them. I end up finishing that person or winning that fight. And for whatever reason, whenever I get clipped, I kind of lose, my train of thought and the game plan or whatever. And I just kind of, the whole, I see red thing, when guys who don't train say that, oh, I see red. I could never do this well. I actually do see red and I just start swinging. And this last fight was better, fortunately for me. This last fight, I didn't just swing because Moicano is a great counterpuncher. So this last fight, I got hit. I came back and I started swinging, and I got back. I made it out of the round. And the next round, I was able to actually go back to the game plan where I take the guy down, control him, and do some damage there.
Yeah, it was an impressive fight. And after the fight, I was like, when we saw the victory, we were like, all right, Beneil won. What's happening in the lightweight division right now? And Arman Tsarukyan, in our opinion, I think you guys can concur, should be next to fight. But at the same time, you have Paddy, who was thrown into the ring and was like, all right, you know what? He's going to be the next contender. Do you think maybe you should fight Paddy for a number one contender spot against possibly Arman fighting for the title next?
Yeah, so I would just say with the with Paddy, it was weird that they tossed him in there, and it didn't seem like Dana wanted that afterwards. So maybe they wanted it originally and it didn't get a good reception, so they're like, yeah, never mind, we don't want that. Okay, that's one theory I have. As far as Arman, I think he's the number one contender, bro. He's beat Charles, he beat me. There's no denying that. So he's the number one contender. I think they should make that fight. But, not making it to UFC, was it 311?
311.
Yes.
So not making it to that, the UFC is kind of punishing him. But he was, what is it called? The backup fighter. So that should be enough, I think, to get him a fight. The problem is now Topuria. Topuria is one of those guys, he really likes to fight big names and blah, 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 blah. He wants the fights to be special. But I think Arman is a really tough fight for him. And so we'll see if he actually accepts that fight. Paddy, for him, is a bigger name, easier fight. So it does seem like he's pushing for that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. As far as me and Paddy fighting, that makes sense because I think we're ranked right next to each other. He might be ahead of me or I might be ahead of him. I don't remember.
Because if you go back to UFC 311 and what took place at that point, you were supposed to be fighting Moicano at the time. And then Arman Tsarukyan was fighting Makhachev.
Yeah.
And Arman got hurt, didn't make weight, whatever it was. And Arman was pulled from the card. And Moicano replaced Arman. So technically speaking, again, we're not the UFC. We're not we have no idea who's in charge of actually making or finalizing the cards. But if history played out the way it was, I believe, and you guys can concur, but the winner of you and Moicano would have fought the winner of Tsarukyan and Makhachev, unless, we don't know what would have happened with that fight.
Yeah, so here's what I would say is they always give me what you would call a tougher standard for a title shot. I was on an 8-fight win streak and they still didn't give me a title shot. I think if Moicano won that fight, they would have gave him a title shot. I think if I won that fight, they would have been like, hey, you got to win one or two more.
Given who a title shot?
If Moicano had beaten me that day, he would have got a title shot.
But what if you would have No.
The one prior.
311.
311.
You don't think you would have gotten a title shot after? Why not?
Because I was on an 8-fight win streak and I didn't get one. So I think they would have been like, "No, we want you to get 1 or 2 more fights." That's been literally the history of my my history in the UFC.
I don't think that's fair. Because at this point, look, Islam is out of the division at this point.
Correct.
He's at 170.
Yeah.
Will he be coming down? Will him and Topuria fight at 170? Because Ilya has got to go up another weight class to fight him.
Yeah. Which I think is actually the healthier thing to do for Makhachev, in my opinion. If you go and fight at 170 and you genuinely put on some weight, and then you want to go down to 55, I don't think it's good for his health personally. But if he can make it, then great, then that's fine. But I think he'll stay at 170 in my opinion.
So where does that leave the 155 division at that point?
I think Topuria is champion. I think the UFC is not going to want him to go to 170. That's what I personally think. I think right now, really, we just got to see who's going to get this title shot. And I think these are the 3 options, actually. You have Arman Sarukian, who, in my opinion, is the number 1 contender. You have Patty, who's on a 8-fight win streak, but no one in the top 5. I think his only top 10 win is Chandler.
Yes.
And then finally you have Justin Gaethje as well, because Justin Gaethje is obviously in a position where he's saying, I'm not going to fight anymore if I'm not given a title shot.
Yeah, because Justin's got one foot out the door at this point.
Yeah,
he's just waiting for the UFC to basically make a decision at this point as far as is he getting the title shot or not. If they say no, you're not getting the title shot, the other foot's out the door at this point.
There is one more thing possible.
What is it?
I was just thinking about it. If Dustin Poirier wins,
the
UFC, and then Topuria all of a sudden starts pushing for that fight, I think the UFC would make it happen.
You think so?
From what I've seen, that's the type of fight Topuria wants. He wants, Volkanovski. After that, he fought Max Holloway. After that, he fought Charles Oliveira. These guys are like legends in the sport. And I don't think anyone will disagree with me when I say Dustin Poirier is a legend of the sport.
No, definitely he is.
Yeah.
So you think the UFC is also arranging these fights based on what they think is going to sell more? Because Poirier and Topuria is obviously is going to be big hit.
Yeah. If Dustin beats Max Holloway, that's a big fight.
Yeah, because they're fighting for the BMF title, right?
Yeah.
The BMF title.
Who was it that won last time? Was it Charles or who won the BMF last time?
The last one was Max Holloway, technically.
Was it Holloway?
But then he got knocked out by Ilya, and Ilya put it on. But it's like,
did Ilya put it on?
Yeah.
The BMF belt?
It was he made his own. I think it was his own.
Oh
belt,
shit! I haven't even seen that.
So it's. I don't know how the BMF works. It's not like
it's like a meme coin.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something you. There you go. Exactly. It's one of those things where it only has value when you want it to have, or when the UFC wants it to have value.
When The Rock can put it around your waist, huh?
Yeah, something like that. For example, you want it to be like, Dana comes out and says it's for the BMF belt, and people are like, oh my gosh, it's the BMF. It's like, what is the BMF belt? Baddest whatever. But they're like, wait, do they have to, do they get the regular belt too? No, they just get this belt. Well, then do they defend this belt? No, it's not really a belt you defend. Well, oh, okay. It's the BMF. Shut up. Well, I was like, okay, that's basically how I feel like the BMF belt is.
Yeah, because I think the first BMF was Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. That was the first one, which
technically Nate Diaz created it, right? And he was like, after he beat Anthony Pettis, he's like, yes. I want to put my belt, my BMF belt against Jorge. So technically, that was the beginning of it. The physical belt came into existence for Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz.
Yeah, that was a hell of a fight too, and it could have been a little bit more scrappier, but you know what? It wasn't a bad fight. Nate Diaz is one of those fighters where he shows up the last round, whether it's round 3 or round 5.
Yeah, I mean, he it seems like
but he's one of my favorite fighters.
It seems like if there was no time limit, he would be an impossible guy to fight.
I mean, the guy runs, I think, decathlons or triathlons, one of the two.
Bro, whatever he does.
Both his brother does.
And they're vegans as well.
Nick does. I don't know if Nate does too.
He used to.
Does he run?
Yeah. I don't know. They don't have a lot of pop, but it
They got stamina.
I'm not a fan of their style, though. I don't like that standing and just going backwards and then attacking and kind of you just feel like he's never doing anything.
If you
and
like
then
brain cells, I agree with you. You wouldn't like that style, but if you don't like brain cells, that's the style, bro. Like if you can take a punch and you can just stay in there, that's the style.
Yeah, the
That's why
Diaz
people
brothers.
love 'em.
Yeah, the Diaz brothers. Both of them are scrappers, and they got cardio.
Yeah,
They have insane cardio.
No disagreement there.
Definitely. Today's show is sponsored by the law offices of Arman Grigorian. If you're injured in a car accident and need proper guidance and representation, reach out to the law offices of Arman Grigorian, 1-818-404-0333. Are insurance companies giving you the runaround? Don't settle for less. Public Assist fights for you, not the insurance companies. To get the maximum payout on your claim, whether it's for fire, water, or property damage, call Public Assist today and tell them the WiseNuts sent you. Get what's rightfully yours. 818-242-0998. 818-242-0998 because you deserve every single dollar. At this point, going back to where the lightweight contendership is, we wish you the best as far as getting that title shot, because Armenians and Assyrians were like brothers and cousins.
Yeah.
So know that you have our support, and know that anytime you're in the ring, you got your Armenian brothers cheering for you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, and I have so many Armenian guys that will message me and whatever. And I got so many Armenian guys I train with. Like I got boys Jora, Sahakian, and I got Fedia. These guys, they're studs. Like these guys are future champions. You guys will see. Currently, they're young guys coming up in the smaller shows, but they'll be in the UFC one day, and you guys will see like the next generation of Armenians is incredibly good.
Well, we hope to have the UFC in Armenia instead of Baku. Dana.
Yeah.
In Armenia instead of Baku. So that's one thing that we would love to see, because
maybe one day in Iran.
Maybe one. Well, with the shit that's going on in Iran, I
don't know, bro. As long as that's going on, I don't think that's going to happen. Them going to Russia was impressive. The UFC went to Russia, and I don't think they want to go back.
But that was years ago. This is before the whole Ukraine and Russia conflict that was going on.
I don't think they want to go back, just how difficult it was. Now imagine doing Iran. So it would take quite a bit to be able to go to Iran. I think Armenia is definitely a possibility, though.
Armenia would be easy.
Here's what I've come to realize. In order to get to UFC, to go to places like this, a lot of doors have to be open politically, and then there has to be a lot of incentives for the UFC to go, because the UFC is like, bro, we can pop out shows anywhere, and the easiest place to do it is Vegas.
Yeah.
So like if we go somewhere, there needs to be some kind of incentive for us. I think Baku, there was something there where they're like, hey, they're taking care of us. Make sure you say nice stuff about it. Like you kept hearing like all the commentators are like, oh my gosh, Baku is so great. I'm going to bring my wife here, like Bisbing was saying, and all these other guys. I think that was kind of like a little bit like, hey, make sure.
Fuck that place, bro.
Yeah.
Do you guys know about the theory of why Tsarukian probably wasn't there because of
political reasons?
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine an Armenian being advertised all throughout Baku?
Yeah.
There's no way, bro. There's no way that would happen.
But why would he be there to begin with, though?
Let's say
as a guest fighter,
as a champion,
or
defending his title or whatever.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, I mean, they wouldn't put him on the card because the title was like a month later, a week later.
Yeah, because look, the UFC, as far as fighters is Armenian fighters is concerned, we have two very, very good Armenian fighters right now. Edmund Shabazian is one of them. He's fighting at welterweight, I believe, right? 170?
185.
Or 185. He's a middleweight. And then obviously you have Tsarukian. So there are a lot of very, very, very good Armenian fighters. I think Arman Petrosyan is another one, right?
Yes, I was going to say, but
yeah, Arman Petrosyan is another one.
But those guys aren't really ranked yet. Shabazian and
Well, I think Shabazian is in the ranking.
Point.
Yeah, he was in the rankings. He had a couple of fallouts, but
he's so young.
Yeah, he's very young.
That's what people don't realize. He's so young. He has so much potential, and I think he just needs direction. Like somebody, he needs.
He's in a good camp right now.
Yeah, he's
how
in a good
important is it? Because for me, I think like we've had, Manny Gambuyan on the show. We had Gegard Mousasi on the show. We've had
Karo Parisian.
All amazingly talented fighters, right? Gerard especially. I mean, the guy is.
Yeah.
I think he could have been pound for pound the best fighter ever if he had the proper camp.
Well, you tell Beneil about Gegard's camp.
Yeah, Gegard's camp was pretty much like, "Hey guys, what are you doing tonight? You guys want to go like wrestle a little bit?"
That's what I think. Yeah, I heard about that.
That was his camp.
But I mean, he was so talented that he could do.
So
that.
imagine if he was with the Mark Jackson. Was it?
Greg Jackson.
Greg Jackson. I mean, Mark Jackson is the NBA coach. Greg Jackson, or like what was the other one? The American Top Team, or one of
Mike
these,
Brown. You got a lot of guys. I hear what you're saying. The issue is there needs to be a chemistry where the coach can push the athlete to a certain degree and not break them or cause tension. So you want a coach who can draw the most out of your athlete without causing friction as far as the relationship goes, and that always seems to be the biggest problem. You'll get guys who are super talented, and this is the issue. The coach will be like, "Hey, we need to do A, B, C, and D," and the athlete will be like, "Bro, I'll do A and maybe D, but like all that stuff in the middle, chill out on that. We're good. I got this," kind of deal. So the athlete becomes his own coach, and when that happens, the coach pulls back, and then then what you would call is the yes men come around.
So it's an ego issue.
Yeah, and then sometimes you have the opposite issue where the coach will push you too hard, and you can have this stud of an athlete who just says yes to everything, and he falls apart before he even gets into camp. So it could go both ways. Don't get me wrong. It's not always one of those things where it's the athlete's fault.
I think if every single athlete were as disciplined as the Dagestanis, it would be insane. Because these guys are like, sent to Dagestan 2 years and forget.
Yes and no. Because here's my thing. I train with a few, and I know quite a bit of them. It's not always like that. Like some of them will come and they don't wrestle, and I'm like, "Oh, you don't wrestle? That's weird." They're like pure strikers.
Interesting.
And then some of them will come and they're the opposite, where they're just grapplers. What people don't realize, we're getting the cream of the crop from Dagestan. And so that's why we're like, dang, these guys are so good. Yeah, you're getting the best ones from there. And it's the same thing with Georgia. Like there's a ton of Georgian fighters, but we're seeing the best ones get into the UFC because the other ones don't, make it through. I will say this about Dagestan. From what I hear, a lot of the UFC just kind of says no to a lot of them because they want only certain amount of them.
Marketability.
They don't want to basically saturate the market with the Dagestani fighters, which kind of understandable, but at the same time, you want the best fighters. So I don't really get that.
Well, we saw that happen with, back in the day with the Brazilian fighters. We had a bunch of Brazilian champions, and it was, in my opinion, oversaturated.
But that's the thing. They weren't marketable because they don't speak the language.
Well, neither do the Dagestanis, man.
Exactly. They need a translator there. And it's hard to communicate with your fans. It's hard to get people, to sell pay-per-view buys when, look, Conor McGregor, why did he do so well in the UFC?
Because everybody in America says they're part Irish. So they're right away, he was that was going for him. Next thing you see, he speaks so well. That goes.
He's trash talking, right?
He's a showman, man.
He's a showman, and he gets under people's skins, and it's working, and everybody's like,
"You don't do that either, though. You're not a trash talker at all."
Bro, I'm just here for blood, and once
just here for blood.
Once that's done, I'm out of here. Like I don't care.
Why don't you say that during the interviews? I'm just here for blood.
I mean,
you don't even say that. Though.
I feel like I do. I'm just here to fight. Like that's all I want.
He's a Syrian, man. We're Armenian Syrians, bro. We're cool, bro. We're just here to do our job, beat some ass, and then move on.
Right.
Move on to the next one.
Yeah, I want to, beat some ass and just go eat, my food. I want to go to Paradise. By the way, Paradise Bakery, Edmund's mom works there. That's something.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. I remember going there and she's like, "Oh, you do UFC?" I was like, "Yeah."
You do UFC?
She's like, "My son does UFC." I was like, "Oh, yeah."
Oh, you mean MMA, yeah?
I'm like, she's got to have like this 12-year-old boy who
Oh, you had no idea.
No, I had no idea. She's like, yeah, I figured she's like, she must have like a 12-year-old boy or a 15-year-old boy who does jujitsu or something like that. And I was like, oh yeah, what's his name? She's like, oh, it's Edmund. I was like, oh, what's his last name? Shabazz. I was like, oh, you're
The golden boy.
I literally just finished training with him. At that time, I was training in Northridge with Homo Bahau and Edmund Najmi. They had a practice there, so I was training with them. Shabazian was there, so I finished. On my way back, Mom ordered me to get some bread. So I stopped there, and there's plenty of food to eat, right? Like it's your spot. You get that. You get some Armenian coffee, and you're ready to head out. So I go there and I meet her, and I was like, oh, dang, this is cool. So that's how I ended up meeting her. But that was the funny story in my head when I was thinking about when you mentioned
you were
her.
more excited to meet her than she was to meet you.
Well, I was, because like most people, they tell me, oh, my son does UFC. I was like, oh, great. And then like, yeah, he's 9 years old. And here's like a video of him doing like karate and stuff, like whatever.
You think he has potential? Huh?
He's gonna fight Conor McGregor in.
Yeah.
Speaking of Conor, do you think that he's ever going to step into the ring?
I don't think so.
Yes.
I thought so for
Too
a
much
while.
money, huh?
I think there's that. And I just think,
Cocaine.
yes. Like I'm not disagreeing with anything you
He
guys.
likes the smell of cocaine.
Yeah.
Huh?
Just likes the smell of cocaine.
Yeah. Both of you guys are right. Like he's got a lot of money, and I think he's partying really hard. But I think what's he desires the what he had before. Sometimes I think parts of him would like sell everything he has, give back everything he has just to be back in the limelight. But the issue is that practice. The issue is, getting into the war zone basically. And I don't think he has that in him.
It's a lack of discipline at this point.
Yeah, I think he can go fight and look like shit and not compete well. I think that's a possibility but he has so much money, it doesn't make sense for him to do that.
Yeah.
Even if he had the discipline, I look at it this way. I don't know what he has, 2, 3, 400 million, whatever amount of money he has at this point. But if you had $400 million, would you risk getting into a ring?
But he left the chapter of his MMA career unfinished, if in my opinion.
Yeah, you could make that argument.
The broken leg with Poirier, the unfinished fight with Poirier, as far as it was supposed to be like this a rubber match where it was like he wins one, he loses one, and then there's the rubber match, the third fight, a possible rematch with Khabib, and that again that lightweight division is a stacked division, bro. He can
but
come back.
Ask yourself that question though. You have 400 million in the bank or assets wherever it is. You're gonna risk possibly having a lifelong injury, whether it's leg, brain, whatever.
You could say the same thing
to close a chapter.
You could say the same things about boxers, man. The Floyd Mayweathers and all these guys. They have much more than like a Floyd Mayweather, where the guy's practically a billionaire.
Okay.
But supposedly.
Supposedly.
And who has he fought?
No, but he can't.
Who has he fought the last 10
No,
years?
I'm not talking about 10 years.
Oh, no, the last 10 years he's fought guys. Like in the last 10 years he fought Pacquiao. He fought a bunch of guys.
Was Pacquiao 10 years ago? I think it was more than that, no?
Was it?
Pacquiao was even if it was, I don't remember, 10, even if it was 10 years ago, Pacquiao was not really in his prime at that point.
Look, at this point, I don't even know what weight class McGregor would fight at.
Yeah.
He looks like he's walking around way over 200.
Yeah. I would say probably 200. Yeah, maybe 205.
Because he looks jacked.
He looks like he's on the good stuff.
Again, he was a phenomenal showman, and I think he is a phenomenal showman. He was the one person who,
bro, he's a great fighter too. Like, just give it to him. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, McGregor sucks.
Yeah,
he in his time he was a great fighter, but
he knocked out Aldo in his prime.
Yeah, and then just time and not being in the room and. That just happens, bro. Like
I think it's very tough at his level. It's there's no motivation. It's a big risk
motivation
factor.
or discipline.
I think it's discipline.
Both.
I think he wants I think he wants that limelight. I think he just doesn't have the ability to get into what you would call the war zone and to be that dog that's necessary to be a champion or just to get back into the octagon.
No, I agree. He doesn't have the discipline, but I don't think most people, if anybody at that level, would either, because it's tough. I mean, when you've done what he's done, I mean, he's at the pinnacle of the sport, right?
Yeah.
He's accomplished more than any other UFC fighter.
He's more. I mean, he became bigger than the sport. You could say.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, he's even further than the pinnacle of the sport. So yeah, I agree with all that. So in my opinion, he's not coming back.
It's kind of like if you guys remember, even like Chuck Liddell, right? I mean, he was the most popular fighter at his time,
Yeah.
and then was it Rampage Jackson that knocked him out?
Yeah, it was when the Pride merger happened. You had the Dan Hendersons, the Rampage Jacksons come in, and it was Rampage versus Chuck Liddell. He didn't knock him out. He TKO'd him.
Yeah,
It was a stoppage, but I mean, yeah,
But he was
knocked him
never
out.
the same after that.
No, Rashad Evans cleaned his clock.
Yeah.
Rashad Evans rung Chuck Liddell's bell like I had never seen before. And I remember watching that fight at home. It was me, my younger brother, my dad, and I was like, come on, we need you to come back. We need you to beat Rashad. And that right hook,
he was out for a while.
Bro, it was scary. If you guys haven't seen that fight, go back and watch it.
I remember that fight.
Yeah, I had never seen Chuck Liddell.
That's what put Rashad on the map too. Was that?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, it was.
Got him a title shot.
Against John. Well, no, was it? Did he get John Jones right after? I don't think so.
He became
a contender.
He got the shot. I think he fought Forrest Griffin after that, and he beat Forrest for the belt.
And then he fought Rampage.
Did he fight Rampage or he lost to Lyoto? I can't remember who he lost to. I thought he lost to Lyoto, and then he ended up fighting John Jones at some point. So I don't remember exactly, but yeah, the knockout of Chuck was really bad. But Chuck was never on like the level of Conor. As popular as Chuck Liddell is, I don't think people realize like Conor McGregor he's much bigger than the UFC.
Oh, he is, yeah. Because of, I mean, social media is different now too. Back then, social media wasn't as big. The sponsorships,
it's not just that. Like he really is like once in a lifetime athlete. You know, you say that a lot, but like, when was the last time we had a Conor McGregor? The closest we've had is Ronda Rousey. Like, and you know, like there's never been a Conor McGregor. And in other sports, you look at other sports. You can talk about Ali, somebody like that. Tyson is like somebody like that. Mike Tyson.
At some point, they're bigger than the sport.
Yeah, even Floyd Mayweather, I wouldn't say he's like that. Like even as big as he is, I wouldn't say he's like that. Pacquiao in the Philippines, yes. Even here, I guess he's pretty popular, but I don't know if he's on that level. That's how crazy. Like,
not only that, but for somebody like a Mayweather, right, to be able to fight him in an expedition, was that considered expedition?
No, it was an actual fight.
It was a
50-0 was the he was at 49-0 at that time. Became 50-0 after we beat him up.
But so let's look at that, right? For example, for yourself, let's say if a Mayweather or Logan Paul, one of these guys says, "Hey Benny, offering you $20 million, $50 million for a boxing match."
Yeah, of course.
Like,
I mean,
right? I mean,
I would do it for sure. But I mean, Conor is like, I have that.
But that was, how much did he make with the Mayweather fight?
They say 100 supposedly.
I mean,
the numbers, I don't know about the numbers. He made a lot of money for sure. There's no doubt about it.
And that was kind of where he jumped from maybe 100 to 200 at that point, plus then his whiskey deal and all that stuff. But that's a lot of money for anybody. To be able to go in there for, what was it, like, how many rounds was it? 10 rounds?
I totally agree with you. But remember, it was after that fight he fought Habib, or was that before? I thought he fought Habib after that. I can't remember.
Was he champion?
No, it was after. No, he fought Habib after, and then he fought obviously Poirier after.
He was double champ when he fought.
The double and the double champ came,
and he had a great fight with Habib. Like if you look at that fight, that was one of Habib's most difficult, if not most difficult fight. So I don't think money was the only thing that motivated that guy. I think his motivation definitely started to go down after, losing to Dustin Poirier and then getting hurt. I think that really hurt, took him out.
Yeah.
So it was 2017 he fought McGregor. McGregor fought Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
What year was it again?
2017 August.
Is when he fought
Mayweather.
Okay, yeah, because he
2018 he fought Khabib.
Yeah, because in 16 is when he beat Eddie Alvarez and he became the double champ, and that's when it was like, all right, you know what, the double champ, and yeah, you're right, because that's when Dana White was like 2-division champion in the UFC, fighting, one of the greatest boxers to ever fight. in history of boxing.
It was so profitable that Zuffa said, "We'll finally do it," because they had never done anything going across
Co-promotion.
because they never co-promoted because they felt like it would take away from them.
Are you leaving LA for Texas? Don't make the mistake of getting underinsured just to save a few bucks. Call Martin Melkonian with State Farm Insurance. He'll make sure your home, auto, and your business is fully protected. No gaps, no surprises. Martin takes his time to understand your needs to build the right policy for you. No shortcuts, just honest advice and real protection. Call him today, 281-712-2788, 281-712-2788. Martin Melkonian, State Farm Insurance. Are you looking for a place to socialize, network, while having a cigar and a drink at the same time? Well, the Glen Arden is the place for you. If you're interested in becoming a member with the Glen Arden Club, contact the WiseNuts. We'll connect you to the boys at the Glen Arden, and you could become a member here. Smoke with the WiseNuts, smoke with a great network, and build your network. Very quickly, going back to the Rashad Evans is concerned. Yeah, he did fight Forrest Griffin. He won the title, and then he lost to Lyoto Machida.
Yeah.
And then obviously, because that light heavyweight division at the time was very stacked as well. And, the UFC has had its ups and downs with certain divisions. At one point, heavyweight division was stacked. You had the Alistair Overeems and the Randy Coutures and the Gabriel Gonzagas, the Crow Cops, and then you had the light heavyweight divisions, and then you had the middleweight. The middleweight division was practically cleaned out by Anderson Silva.
Yeah. Anderson definitely cleaned out that division.
Yeah. But let me ask you this: as far as your Mount Rushmore of MMA, who would you put on that Mount Rushmore?
It's tough because the first thought that comes to mind is John Jones. Bro, he's so amazing. But the fact that he's, pretty much, I think he's cheated. That's my opinion. I think he's cheated. I think he's been caught, and there's no doubt about it. I know the whole picogram or whatever it is. I think he's a cheater, and he's always cheated. So, I don't love the idea of putting him on the Mount Rushmore thing. But if it wasn't for that, bro, no one comes close to John Jones.
What do you think of him kind of, I guess, prematurely retiring right before his potential fight with Tom?
What is he, 37, 38? I mean, he's not premature. I think he's just being intelligent and not fighting a guy who could beat him,
But he kind of dragged it for so long. I mean, he's like, yeah.
Well, he did recently tweet out saying that UFC is going to Washington. He might consider it.
I think, obviously, I think he's a narcissist and he likes to be in the limelight as well. So there's that as well.
But do you think he would beat Tom Aspinall, or you think he would lose?
John Jones is the greatest fighter I've seen in that octagon, so I think he definitely can win. I think, but for the first time in a long time, he would be the underdog. Let's just put it that way.
What makes him so great? What is it about him that nobody's been able to?
I think it's his mind. I think athletically, obviously he's very gifted. He has the reach advantage. He's very strong. Everybody who's ever come in contact with him said he's stronger than I expected. But I think what makes him great is his mind.
Because genetically, bro, his brothers are football players, Super Bowl champions, actually.
Yeah, he's actually not even the genetic freak of the family.
Yeah, it tells you a lot. But all right, John Jones, number one. Who's 2, 3, and 4 on your Mount Rushmore?
GSP is like the guy I watched first. Like he was the guy who got me excited to do MMA. Like I saw GSP fighting, and he wasn't that much older than me. I don't remember, like 5-6 years older than me. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's doing it. Maybe I could do it, So GSP is definitely up there. I think skill wise, you have to put Demetrius up there. I think
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, I wanna say bro. As far as skill goes, record-wise, I wouldn't put Conor there, but you could put Conor there just because of the exposure he gave to the sport. So Conor, it could be Conor, it could be Fedor, the other one, it could be Anderson Silva. All these guys can go up there. It's tough. I don't put too much thought into it. It's I
wonder what ChatGPT would say about prime Fedor versus prime John Jones.
Yeah, that's actually a great question.
I think Jones will take him.
I think so too. I really don't see John Jones losing.
John Jones is just all around a well-rounded fighter. He's got an amazing camp as far as Greg Jackson's camp backing him up. He's just built differently. The only loss he has is to Matt Hamill,
which was
which was a DQ.
Was it no contest or DQ?
Yeah.
It was a DQ where he had the 12-6 elbows, and that's legal now, right?
now the rules have changed, so that would be legal.
So can they overturn that at all, or is it at this point just is cemented in history?
The athletic commission is very strange. They're not big fans of like changing things, because if they change A, they have to change B to Z. You know, so they're like, no, we'll just leave it as is. They're government. They're a government entity, so efficiency isn't really their strong suit.
Let's see what ChatGPT says about Prime Fedor and John Jones. A fantasy matchup between Prime Fedor Emelianenko and John Jones. Jones 6'4", Fedor 6 feet tall.
There's already a good height and reach advantage right there.
Style matchup: Fedor has the edge in explosiveness and finishing instinct early. Jones has the edge in reach, control, and cardio. Jones's wrestling would be a problem. He'd likely neutralize Fedor's judo in the clinch and avoid wild exchanges. Fight IQ versus chaos. Fedor thrives on chaos, lightning quick scrambles and brutal finishes. Jones thrives in structure, dissecting opponents, adapting mid-fight, exploiting weaknesses. Verdict: slightly John Jones wins.
There you go.
Yeah.
But a little bit away from the MMA world now, we kind of want to talk to you about who Beneil Dariush is outside of MMA. You're a man of faith. You're a man of God. And a family man, obviously. How do you click and turn that off or turn it back on when you're outside of the cage or inside of the cage when you turn it back on?
Yeah, like you guys said, devout Christian, and fighting obviously doesn't seem cohesive with Christianity. But I'll put it this way: I always tell people the reason why I believe it's okay for me to be in there, and this is something I spend a lot of time thinking about and praying about, is because I don't actually hate the person that's across from me. Like I don't hate that person that I'm fighting. So I'm not going in there because of hate. I'm going in there because I love martial arts, because I like what I do. And, that person has signed up for the same thing. And so this is not technically violence. This is what you would call competition. And, I love competition. And so I think that's why it's okay. But as far as, being a devout Christian, that wasn't always a thing too. I was not always a Christian. I was born in a Christian family. I attended church on Friday and Sunday like everybody else does in Iran, because Assyrians, like you said, predominantly Christian. Similar. I would even go to Armenian churches in Ararat, right? Is Ararat is what I'm thinking about, like where you play sports and stuff?
Yeah. Yes. Ararat is
they have that in Iran too. We would attend all that stuff, and I was never like one to go inside the church and actually pray. Like I my whole thing was like, my friends are here, cool. I'll be here for as long as my friends are here. Once my friends are gone, all right, I'm ready to go home. Like, kind of book it. I didn't actually become a believer until I would say my early 20s. And that was all, moving from jiu-jitsu into MMA. That I really believe it was God who moved me into MMA. And then I started to discover who he was and actually got to know who he was. And that's how I gave my life to the Lord. And that actually all took place because of my wrestling coach, who is who was a pastor at Calvary Chapel, which I still attend to this day.
Nice. So who were your friends in Iran, Assyrian, Armenian, or were they
both?
Okay.
Yeah, I had both. I had Assyrian friends and Armenian friends, and then some of them were half and half.
And any of them, any Persian friends or Iranian friends, actual like Muslim or Iranians?
A little bit, because the area I was in was actually we're near Tabriz. Urmi is near Tabriz, and actually is a lot of Turks. So we had some friends, but like not a ton, because just ultimately, like when it came down to it, there's always an issue, and it is what it is.
It's a religious divide.
Yeah, it is, because like for example, we could be friends and hang out all day, but then for whatever reason, it would be our parents or their parents. They'd be like, "Hey, that's good enough. Like, get out of there.
Pack it up, call it a day."
And at that time, I used to think like, this is so silly, but my parents are protecting me, and I'm assuming their parents are doing the same thing, because it's a tricky thing. Because, for example, if I have enough influence on them to where maybe they're like, oh, maybe this Christianity thing is cool, they're gonna get their head chopped off.
Yeah, it's very dangerous to try to convert anybody who's Islamic to another religion.
Yes, in Iran, and then you know, vice versa. If you think about it, if I was to go to the Muslim religion, now I'm completely blocked out by my people. I'm not able to attend my church anymore. I can't those events, because by law, if you're Muslim, you cannot walk into a Christian church. You know, that's when they head starts chopping off. So now I can't attend that, and I can't go back to being a Christian. Maybe I could. I don't remember exactly the law on that, but once, like, it's, you know, your parents don't want that. Like, so they would keep you guys separated, keep us separated when it got to the nitty gritty of it.
Because we've talked about the people of Iran, the Iranian people, and a lot of our viewership was a little bit confused as far as who we were speaking about as far as being great individuals. Because the Iranian people themselves, they're great people.
Yes.
And they were confusing what we were saying as far as the religion or the politics or the politician. The radical Islamic regime that's running Iran right now are horrendous, horrible people.
And not the majority. They are the minority, actually. They're a big minority. Like the leaders, the Shiite leaders are a big minority. And you know, majority of Iran it was, at least when I left, it was like 70% of it was between 20 and 30. It was a really young generation. And so a lot of them were more what you would call secular in terms of their beliefs and what they wanted. And I don't know how much that's changed. I'll tell you this, though, with the recent war, they've gone actually further into the more what you would call radical side, more into
stricter Shia law.
Yeah.
You moved here when?
I was 9 years old, but I used to go back during the summer when I was 14, 15, 16, and 17.
So 98 you moved here.
98 or 99.
Yeah,
That's
so
right. Good math.
Yeah, so you've lived during the Khomeini regime.
Yes. When we were there, it was that. But I lived in a village. Like, this is one thing people need to understand. Like, we were pretty separated from, you know, most of what you would call persecution or what you would call racism or the stereotyping of each other and all that. I lived in a village. Like, the most I saw was, like, we always made fun of Turkish people, and then the Kurds would make fun of us and we would make fun of them. Like, we all had jokes for each other.
Yeah.
But that's the most I saw. I didn't know about the bloodshed and all that in our history until I came to America and I learned more about it.
As far as the Assyrian history?
Yeah.
No shit, really?
I was 9 years old. My mom was like, hey, you want to go to school? Like, nah, I'm cool. I'm going to go, you know, work with my uncle and help him with, like, whatever he needs with the trees, or I'm going to go play with my friends. Like, I would skip school. I don't know why my mom still says I was a good kid. I was like the worst kid. Like, if I was my own father, I would beat my ass every day. It was one of those things, like, where, like, hey, you want to go to school? If I have to. So they're like, okay, you're going to start going to school. And, you know, it's supposed to be 6 days a week over there. And I was going like 2-3 days a week.
Oh, damn.
And they were okay?
In first and second grade. My mom was like, yeah, they would put us in a taxi. It's like a personal taxi because it was cheap from the village, and you would go into the city to it. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, well, see you there. So get to the school, and I just walk and do stuff, and then wait.
And this is first, second grade.
Yeah,
bro. Could you imagine the average first or second grader today?
We have first, second graders.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, we do. Oh, Jesus Christ! See, that just blows my mind. Right? I can't picture myself giving money to a taxi driver, putting my daughter in the taxi, and saying, "All right, honey. Well, I'll see you."
Just so you know that this guy is from our village.
No. I know. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
This is a guy we know well.
No, I know. Don't get me wrong.
What do they call that in Armenian? We had that too. Was it Namoshni or something?
Namoshni?
Do you remember, Joe? Those guys that if they were going from one city to another,
Joe could run for president.
If they were going from one city to another, you're like, oh, okay, you're going from here to Pasadena. Can you drop off?
Oh man, geez. Yeah. See, like, I can't picture myself allowing my daughter to just, all right, you know what? Here's your lunch money. You're first grade. You're 7 years old. You can take care of yourself.
But here's
just
the thing,
don't smoke cigarettes.
My mom like my mom, my dad came here earlier when I was like 4 to America so he could bring us. But my mom was like, he's going to go to school. He's going to be this and that. He's going to be a smart boy.
He's gonna be an engineer.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was good with numbers. My was may have been my first grade teacher. He met with my mom. Like I liked him, so I was pretty consistent as showing up. He was like, he's really good with math. He's not very good at everything else, but he's really good with math, right? So like he was a fan of me. And then my second grade teacher wasn't a big fan. I was like, yeah, what am I doing here? Like I'd be there, and if I was in the school, I'd just kind of goof off, whatever, and then just wait till I get home. Bro, I lived in a village where I could go wherever I wanted. We had a giant farm. I would go climb trees. I would mess with the animals. Like that was the thing. Like, why am I going to go to school and like be consistent with that, So yeah, that was that's kind of the guy I was. I wasn't what you would call I wasn't what you would call disciplined, I guess.
And how old were you when you came to the States again?
9.
Would you want to live in a village like that now? Not necessarily in Iran, but let's say here in wherever, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, somewhere.
Before I discovered jiu-jitsu, I was like, man, I could go back. I'll be perfectly fine. I don't give a shit about politics at that time. I don't, I just want to go back and hang out with my friends and, do the farm thing. Cause like we get the best milk, we get the best butter, we get the best meat. Like that's all I care about. I was just simple minded, but as you grow up, you learn about history, about what's going on. And it really, for me, martial arts is what kind of grounded me in California. If it wasn't for martial arts, I probably would have left here.
Where would you go?
I don't know, somewhere where there's less tax, I guess.
I mean, you've got a lot of MMA gyms around the country these days.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, you could go to Florida, you can go to Las Vegas, you can go anywhere.
New Mexico.
Yeah, New Mexico. And I do really well with the heat. Like, and all these places I just mentioned, Arizona, I prefer the heat for whatever reason. My body performs well in the heat. I sleep okay when it's hot. Like I don't have too many issues. I was born in Ahvaz. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's close to Azerbaijan. It's super hot. So,
Isn't that where Patrick was from as well?
I don't remember.
Because I remember we talked to Patrick but David about, because he's a Syrian Armenian, and where he grew up in Iran, he says it was like super humid and super hot. So him acclimating to the weather in Florida, he goes, it felt like I was back home again.
Ahvaz is not humid from what I remember. It's dry.
I forgot. Yeah,
it's
I forgot.
a desert.
Yeah, I forgot where he was.
A lot of people are from Ahvaz.
He says no. He was born in Tehran here.
Tehran gets hot and humid.
And humid?
It gets like gross humid. Like,
So
especially with all the smog. I remember like I was 14 or 15. I went back and it was my first day in Tehran. I'm just walking around. My Farsi's not bad. Like I could do whatever I want.
Yeah.
I could do whatever I want. I got like lots of money. My mom at that time, once you come back from America and you get a dollar exchange, my mom has no clue like what she gives me. I think she gave me like $10, which there was at
20
that time,
million.
like at that time, it wasn't as bad. It was like having $100, like $100 for a 15-year-old. So I start like going around, getting a taxi, doing this, doing that. I remember walking back into our room, and I just was like, my nose was stuffy, so I start picking my nose. The booger that came out was black. The air there is so bad. The smog there is terrible because they're between mountains. Tehran's between mountains, and then just all the smog just sits there.
Oh, geez, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so people in Tehran, they love it when it rains because you finally get that fresh air. Because after an hour of rain, you step outside and the rain stops, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what fresh air is.
Today's show is sponsored by the law offices of Arman Grigorian. If you're injured in a car accident and need proper guidance and representation, reach out to the law offices of Arman Grigorian, 1-818-404-0333. Are you leaving LA for Texas? Don't make the mistake of getting underinsured just to save a few bucks. Call Martin Melkonian with State Farm Insurance. He'll make sure your home, auto, and your business is fully protected. No gaps, no surprises. Martin takes his time to understand your needs to build the right policy for you. No shortcuts, just honest advice and real protection. Call him today, 281-712-2788, 281-712-2788. Martin Melkonian, State Farm Insurance.
Wow. So your family is not Iranian. They're Assyrian.
Assyrians, but born there. So
Born there. Kind of like our parents were Armenian.
Yeah.
They were like our grandparents and great grandparents, a few generations down, they were born in Iran. But
Yeah.
we're not Iranian though; we're Armenian, born in Iran. So yours is the same.
I mean, it's unfortunate that the Assyrians lost their country,
Mm-hmm.
but we were fortunate enough to have Armenia. I mean, it's a small country. Armenia is very tiny.
Yeah.
Well, we
But-
say that, but remember that statistic that Arman Orogyan shared with us a
It was
few
a
years
language
back,
one, right?
where today you have over 7,000 languages spoken around the world, where there's only about 190, 93 countries, and Armenia is one of them.
Yeah. That's
But-
impressive.
And Armenia happens to be one of 7 or 9 languages that's also very unique, where it's like it comes from one country. It's
There was something
not-
about the alphabet as well, where we have our alphabet is the only alphabet for
It's unique to you.
that
Yeah.
language. Whereas you see Slavic countries, they share a lot of the same
Yes.
letters and the same alphabet.
Even Aramaic, what we speak is similar to Hebrew.
Aramaic is on there too.
Yeah, but it's similar to Hebrew. So they're very similar. And the words are similar to some degree.
Well, one thing a lot of people don't know is Aramaic is technically the language Jesus spoke.
Yeah.
So,
See, it says countries where the official language is not shared by any other country: Japanese, Korean, Armenian, Georgian, Hungarian, Albanian.
there you go. And if Assyria had a country, Assyrian would be another one.
I'd probably be on the list. I wouldn't be surprised.
Definitely. But so you came here when you were 9, and got married. You got 3 kids.
You didn't get
daughters,
married
yeah.
at 9 though.
No. I waited
Then
till I was.
let's redo that.
let's
Let's
clear
redo
that.
that. Let's read.
Why were we doing
Why?
that?
No, because now it sounds stupid.
What?
It's funny though.
Is it?
Yeah,
It
no,
sound-
we're keeping
I-
this in here, by the way, just so
Yeah,
you
I
know.
thought
We're
I,
not cutting
I
it.
thought I
It's
sounded.
It's his first show, Benny.
Yeah, it's all good, bro. It happens.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he did not get married at 9 years old. So
No.
you came here at 9, grew up, went to school.
I was gonna say.
that's what you got to say.
I thought you were gonna make a
we're gonna-
Muhammad joke next.
He's not Aisha.
He was 9, married a 4-year-old, had 4 kids.
So you got 3 kids now. What do you have? Boy, girls? Are you girl dad, boy dad?
I exclusively make women. All my
So you're a girl dad.
I've had nothing but girls, and we had a miscarriage, and she was a girl too. So like I've only had girls.
So you're a girl dad.
That's right.
Uh,
Very proud of it too. By the way, my wife really wants a boy, but so we're gonna keep trying. But that's great for me because I want more girls.
nice.
Your
Bro.
wife's a Syrian too?
She's Vietnamese.
Vietnamese.
She's
wow.
a whole different kind of crazy. So yeah, that's a whole different.
So
thing.
your kids are half Vietnamese, half Assyrian.
Yeah.
Very interesting combination.
Yeah, I did. Dude, so your kids look more like you or your wife?
I would say, let's see, my oldest looks more like my wife. My middle one looks like me, and the youngest one, I think she's gonna look like my wife because she's 7 months old. It's hard to tell. People are like, "Oh, she looks like." I was like, "She's 7 months old. Give it a little bit.
Give
Time,
it a
guys."
minute.
Yeah, chill.
Beneil, you'll be surprised. There's kids that are born on the freaking hospital bed, and the parents come to, he looks exactly like my son.
Yeah,
It's like, bro, the kid's still swollen from just
Yeah.
entering the world.
The what's that? Is it plasma? What's it called? The
Umbilical cord.
no. Where in the uterus?
Placenta.
The placenta?
Yeah, the placenta's still on the baby. They're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, how does it look like? Let me take that off.
As the father's cutting the umbilical cord. I look just like your son.
Yeah.
Just like you.
That's kind of what it was with my family. They're like, "Oh, this one looks just." I was like, "Guys, please give it a little bit of time." Especially Vietnam, the Vietnamese side of our family. They're like, "Oh, the eyes, they look just like you." I was like, "What do you mean? The eyes are shut. You can't even tell." They're like,
like-
"No. It looks like." I was like, "Whatever."
But it's like, Beneil, she has your ears.
Yeah.
It's like, no, she doesn't. My ears are
I have
cauliflower.
Exactly.
So, are you teaching them English, Aramaic, and Vietnamese?
I only speak to them in Aramaic. I refuse to speak to them in English. Like sometimes I get mad and I'll yell at them in English, but I speak to them only in Aramaic. And my oldest can understand, can speak a little bit. My desire is at some point I will put her in classes to learn how to read and write, and eventually she'll be able to develop and do that. Unfortunately, she for me at least, she's better at Vietnamese. She can speak Vietnamese fluently, and that's because my in-laws are over every day. So she hears my wife speak to her parents, and the parents speak to each other. So she hears more Vietnamese, and so she's picked up on it.
Interesting.
but there's not a single thing I say to her she doesn't understand. She's just not confident to speak yet.
Give it time. How old is she right now? The oldest?
She's 4.
She's 4?
She's 4.
Give it time.
I mean, I don't like to tell her she's like smart and special, because like you do that too much, you spoil the kids. Like, but she's definitely ahead of the curve. We thought she's going to be delayed because we were speaking to her in 3 languages. Like my middle one is what you would consider delayed technically. She's perfectly intelligent, but speaking wise, I'm speaking Aramaic. My wife is speaking
It's
English.
confusing the shit out of the kid, bro.
Yeah. And my in-laws are speaking
you have a
Vietnamese.
Hispanic nanny, so
Yeah, no nanny, fortunately. But but like my 2-year-old, she understands everything. She just has a hard time speaking. Alva, my oldest, on the other hand, she could speak in all 3 languages like right off the bat. Like I remember at 1-year-old, she started saying words, and she started like at 2 years old, she was speaking very clearly. So I understand she's a little bit ahead of the curve, but like I'm not worried about my middle one. She's very intelligent as well, and then we'll see how the third one comes out.
See, with us as well, both me and my wife, we speak English and Armenian, fluent in both languages. My daughter, older one, amazing in Armenian, and then she picked up English, and then now she's in school. She's in a flag program where it's half English, half Armenian. Her Armenian's gotten better than my Armenian, but her English is still strong. So my son, on the other hand, we were afraid that he was going to be delayed, but then we realized, we're like, shit, man. Like, we're speaking English and Armenian at home. This kid's watching TV in English. And then we have my in-laws and my parents who would, like my mom and my mother-in-law would watch the kid speak Armenian only. So it's like, dude, he's hearing both languages, tripping him out. So we were like, all right, whatever he picks up on, that's what we go with. So unfortunately, he picked up English. So we speak to him in English and Armenian, but he responds back fully in English, but he understands both. He understands English and Armenian.
I would stick, if I was you, I would just go straight to Armenian only, because he's going to get English no matter what. You want him to have Armenian.
Well, here's the thing. I do speak to him in Armenian, especially when I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
But
I'm the opposite. I go English when I'm pissed.
Oh, do you? But he'll respond back to me in English. That's the downside.
Just tell him you don't understand.
But
that's going to piss him off even more.
My mother-in-law does that. That actually works though. My mother, but he's too old. He's how old is he?
He just turned 3.
Oh no, you could do that. Then you could do that. My mother-in-law did that with my with Alva, and it worked. My oldest.
Oh man, I feel like that'll piss him off.
She's like, I'm not responding to you
because my son has a very these
boys are different too. That's
he's
true.
so afraid of his 3-year-old. He's like,
he's a handful, bro.
I don't blame you. I
just got him into martial arts, so he's doing karate now.
All my sons are are the martial arts guys. So all my sons are like in their 20s or late teens. So I don't really know how to deal with boys, young boys.
I mean, both my kids are in martial arts. Both of them are in karate. Yeah. So like my son recently, he's the baby of the class as well. He's 3. Everybody's
3. There's no
everybody's 4, 5, and 6 years old. So like when you look at the class, like all the kids are like yay tall, and then you have this little guy, but he's scrappy though.
That's good.
He's scrappy. Like recently they had this. I'll show you a video of it. They set up this this padding where it's like probably about like maybe 4 feet tall, and the kids are jumping off of it, and you got like this little 3-foot guy standing on the top of it, and the karate instructor's like jump, and he's just like he's like jump, and he just pushes him. He pushes him. He lands, and then realizes, oh shit, I could jump this height now. So it's a learning process with him. He's got a very unique personality, but only time will tell. Who he'll become.
Don't let him intimidate you that much.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. My thing, I think one of the reasons why God doesn't let me have any boys is just because like they're gonna get their ass kicked from day one. Like when it comes to girls, like it's like, oh my daughter, I'm not gonna spank her or whatever, but boys, like
even boys, I have 2 boys. I don't think you would do that
because
I would. It's
bro, I definitely would. I feel bad, but I would.
Would you? I mean, were you
your ass every time you didn't listen?
Did your dad kick your ass if you didn't listen?
No, but I mean, it's easy because like
he's a boy.
He's a boy, and like boys, you rough him up, and they think it's funny. So it's just like, you're not
roughing
listening.
him up is different, but to just kick their ass, it's. I mean,
take the belt off.
No, Mom. Sometimes I show tough love with my boys, or they'll they'll come and they'll they'll do rear naked choke on me, and both of them, especially my 7-year-old, he's got
they got to squeeze.
He's got a mean RNC. Like he'll just, if you don't tap out, you'll probably pass out.
Yeah.
So, but at the end of the day, they're still little kids.
He's gonna front kick him in the face.
Okay, listen.
Come at me, bro.
Listen, my buddy Caleb, he'll bring his son Noah to me, and he'll be like, "Hey, can you watch him for a little bit? No problem." Like when I'm taking care of him, like my daughter's crying. He's like, "Oh my gosh, my daughters are crying." He starts crying. I was like, "No, if you don't stop crying, bro, I'm you know." I like it's different. I just the tone of it, whatever it is. I mean, I genuinely believe it's like when I have a boy, it'll be when God has finally kind of softened my heart enough to have
I agree
a boy.
the tone is different because a few months ago, my brother's daughters were staying over at our house, my nieces, and the way I was with them, my wife's like, it's like, why is your tone different? And why are you acting so weird? I'm like, because they're girls. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not used to seeing you like this because you're different with
So
the
you
boys.
only have boys?
I have 2 boys.
Oh
yeah.
So you'll see. If you
I
ever
guess,
have a girl, you'll see.
I guess with girls, I do change and turn somewhat semi-gay or whatever that tone was with.
Bro, like in the beginning, it was like I was literally holding them like they were so fragile. I've gotten better at it. I was like, but I was no, like I can't do any. Yeah,
See, I got best of both worlds. So with my daughter, she's like my best friend. Like her and I will go have lunch together. We'll hang out together. We'll go shopping together. Whereas my boy, he's a mama's boy, bro. But there are times where I'm literally just sitting on the couch and all of a sudden you see a flying knee just jump. But my daughter's never like that. It's like
a little bit, my daughters, but I agree with you. They're not like that. They're not rough. They just like when I come home, my oldest will be like, "Daddy, I love you." I was like, "Oh, okay. What's the occasion?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't know. I just love you." I was like, "Oh,
Yep.
hey, come give me a hug," and whatever. And sometimes they'll jump on me and do that, but it's never that rough. Like if I'll be like, "Oh my, oh, you hurt me." They're like, "Oh no, Daddy, are you okay?" Yeah,
See, like my daughter on her my daughter has an iPad. Literally, this is what she texted me on Saturday. So she's texting now. Randomly, it's
kissing 2 hearts
at 5 p.m. because I left to meet up with some clients. She sends me a kiss with 2 hearts.
Yeah, that's my nieces. We have a group chat.
Yeah, so it's like, nieces. Dude, like how can like I can't even. She melts my heart, bro.
Right? It's never gonna be the same. Like I tell people, boys and girls, like when you have a daughter, you're like you will have boys and you'll love them and you'll spend maybe more time with them, but your daughter is she's the apple of your eye.
Are insurance companies giving you the runaround? Don't settle for less. Public Assist fights for you, not the insurance companies. To get the maximum payout on your claim, whether it's for fire, water, or property damage, call Public Assist today and tell them the WiseNuts sent you. Get what's rightfully yours. 818-242-0998. 818-242-0998 because you deserve every single dollar. Are you looking for a place to socialize, network, while having a cigar and a drink at the same time? Well, the Glen Arden is the place for you. If you're interested in becoming a member with the Glen Arden Club, contact the WiseNuts. We'll connect you to the boys at the Glen Arden, and you could become a member here. Smoke with the WiseNuts, smoke with a great network, and build your network. Let me ask you this. We're talking about kids. We're talking about family. We're talking about faith. What you wore a very interesting shirt when and you posted on social media one time about the socialism stuff. What are your thoughts on what's going on in the country nowadays, especially with the progressive left-wing ideology?
Shoot. So I would say
I know that's a loaded question.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. I would say I'm a devout Christian, and I would say I'm what you would call very conservative. I'm not far right because far right doesn't make sense. It's stupid. But I would say I'm more conservative than the even the current administration. Like a lot. I'm definitely a what you would call a smaller government person. I want like the government to be as small as possible. I'm not saying to be like completely useless, but I want a smaller government. I do believe in having a powerful military. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want that military in every country. I want it at our borders. That's my ideal military is to have a border that's extremely powerful and terrifying to our enemies and everyone in general. As far as like, for example, I would say I'm more pro-life than the current administration. I think all abortion should be banned, and I think it should be banned. The president should be doing it. I think the Supreme Court should be doing it. I think, when they asked Trump whether he should do, if he's going to go more for that, he's like, no, I'm going to leave it up to each state. I would say no. That is that's part of the whole. It's life. So we're supposed to protect life. I would say, like, the whole, I think being trans, that's a disease.
The alphabet people?
Well, that's the thing. I don't like doing the whole alphabet thing, because if you're trans, I think you have a mental disease and you need help.
Yeah, it's called gender dysphoria.
Yeah. So
that's the one thing that a lot of people choose to not accept.
I don't want to. I'm not going to. That's why I don't want to include all the alphabet people, because if you're trans, I think you're genuinely sick. I think if you're gay, it's a little bit different. That's a preference, right? If you're gay, you have a preference. This is what you prefer. Now, I would tell you why I don't think it's a good idea to have that preference. But I would say this: you have the freedom to choose whatever you want. But the trans thing is like, this guy is sick. It's not the same thing. You have to help a sick person. Or you shouldn't at least push more on top of that sickness. Like, if someone is an alcoholic, typically we be like, hey, take away the alcohol. Like, don't put it out in front of the person. Don't give them alcohol. But it seems with this situation, it's like, oh, you're trans here. Let me push more you into that. Oh, you want to do that? Sure, go ahead. You want to go compete with women? Go ahead. Like, no, I just can't agree with that. I understand. I'm very pro individual freedom. So if you're gay, I can tell you why I think it's not a good idea. Why, from a Christian perspective, it's not a good thing. But if that's what you choose, I will not. I will not get in your way and be like, no, you can't do that. So
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at.
I think you're on the same boat as we are. We truly think that and when we say alphabet people, we mean like the ones that are like far left extremists.
Yeah.
Because the L's,
Alphabet.
the G's, and the B's.
What's the B?
Bisexual.
That's
It's just an
look,
L or B.
Look, I mean,
bisexual. I think it's just like kind of. You're like, okay, fine. I'll
Look, man,
experiment. I'll take.
I know this is going to sound
It
extreme.
makes no sense whatsoever.
I know this is going to sound
Isn't
extreme.
it all gay at the end?
Yeah.
Well, look, if you're gay, if you're lesbian, dude, by all means.
What's
Technically,
lesbian?
I think
female gay.
I think the
Gay.
trans community. I think the trans community is doing a disservice to the L, the G's, and the B's.
That's a fact. And here's the reason why. Because, for example, when the gay community came out, they say, hey, we were born like this and there's nothing I can do. These are my preferences. That's a very good argument. And you can really make that argument. But when the trans community came in, they completely changed that argument, because they said, hey, today I'm feeling like a boy, so I'm going to transition. And then we asked them, well, if tomorrow you feel like a girl, can you go back there? Like, yes, I can change whenever I want. So you're telling me now you can change what you are on, just based on your thought, then that the argument for the gay and the lesbians just goes out the window. They literally poop on them with that. So they completely reject what the entire movement was built on. Well, like for the gays and the lesbians, the movement was built on, hey, this is how I was born. I've had to struggle through this. It's not like I want to be like this. If I could be straight, I could be. I would be. I've heard that a ton of times. But then all of a sudden the T's came in. They're like, no, we can be whatever we want whenever we want.
Yeah, there's a hilarious skit. I think Dave Chappelle does it, where he talks about the LGBTQ community, and it's on like a bus, and he brings up the analogy as far as like you have the L's, the G's, and the B's, and the T's are the ones in the back causing all the ruckus and screwing everything up. But you know what? At the end of the day, we do. If you're gay, you're lesbian, you're even bisexual, by all means, you do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Keep it in your bedroom. But the whole transgender movement bullshit that's going on, it's confusing society. I think the fact that
And
they're
I think
pushing
it's hurting
all
the
this,
gays and the lesbians, like you said.
it is hurting the gays and lesbians. But the fact that they're pushing testosterone and estrogen and puberty blockers on children, that's where we draw the line, bro. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you know what, man? If you are going to stop God's work and put a puberty blocker in a child, inject a kid with puberty blockers, bro, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
I'm totally with you. And then, as far as I mentioned earlier, like why I would say to the gay or lesbian to not be gay and lesbian and follow traditional values is this, because as a devout Christian, I believe God gave us the greatest gift God gave us is children. So if you follow that path, you lose the ability to have children. And if you lose God's greatest gift, you will most likely you will eventually reject God as well.
Yeah.
If you reject his gifts, you will reject him.
Well,
that's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
And I know this, they're like, well, listen, this is really important to me. And I'll ask people this. I'll ask you guys this actually, because you guys both have kids. Right when you were 18, if I told you pick between sex or having kids, which one would you pick?
Ooh,
when you're 18,
sex.
Yes, for sure. You're gonna pick sex.
Yeah, because you're a hormonal.
Yeah, young, dumb, and full cum, as they say, right? So that's what you would pick. Would you say the same thing?
Well, I didn't have sex till I was 47. So
okay, at 46. So at 18,
he was all dumb and full of cum.
semen retention, baby.
So let's say now. I think 95%, 99% of the population would pick sex over having kids. And what I'm saying to you, what I believe is God is saying to you, deny your urges now for the gifts that will come later, because the gifts that you get later from the discipline that you have are greater than that. Because now, to ask you at this age, if you had to pick between your children or having sex, which one would you pick now?
Oh, are you kidding me, bro?
You would pick your kids.
I would, and all of us could vouch for this.
You'd be
we
a
would
monk.
all die for our
Yeah,
children.
exactly. You would be a monk. So that's the thing. What I'm saying to people is, listen, by denying your current desires, you will have a greater gift later, and that's your children, right? And I know it's a tough argument to make, but that would be my argument to the gay or to the lesbian. That's what I would say. To have children is greater than to have just sex. And
but imagine if it was the other way around, though. Let's say if we could only have children with the same gender, right? And that same ultimatum was given to you. Either choose sex or children, and the only way you could have children is if you were with another man. Could you make that choice and say, well, yeah, I guess I'll put my desire for women aside and be with the man just so we can have kids? Well,
I mean,
because that's how I think they feel about.
No, I get it.
About
it's a great argument. And listen, I'm again, if it meant what I have right now with my girls, then yes.
So you would be willing to have your 3 girls today
and give up sex, basically.
Not give up sex, but your wife was a man.
I mean, if that's what it was, yes, that's because that's how important my kids.
I wouldn't be able to do that, because for me, I can't imagine like me being.
But you understand that would be what would be natural. So you would be the 1% that's not natural.
But to them, that's natural. That's the thing. To them, like to a gay man, kissing a woman or being intimate with a woman is not natural.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right? And vice versa. Same thing with.
See, if you want to get.
I'm telling you, what's the greater gift? What's the greater pleasure? I'm saying children are better.
Because it's easy for us to say that, because
look, man,
we fall into the majority.
You're totally right. You're totally right.
It's not only the look. If you want to get religious, if you want to get religious about this, God created man, and then He created woman off of the rib. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He took the piece of man's rib and He created woman. And I believe it was in Genesis where He said that a man will leave his mother and father.
Genesis 2:24.
Yeah, and join woman, and they will become one flesh.
Become one flesh.
So when God was creating the world, every time He would do something on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, all the way to day 6, He he would create something and he would say, this is good, this is good, this is good. And on the seventh day, he would rest. So everything God created was perfect. It was made perfect. So if you go against whatever it is that he's created, it's no longer perfect.
Well, hold on. So
his argument isn't that. He's saying these aren't religious people, so they don't even care about that. What I'm trying to say to you is the thing that has more value. Like, take God out of it. I'm telling you, like, kids
I know.
are more valuable than sex, is what I'm saying. They would more likely disagree with me, but that's fine. But that's my argument towards why you should keep traditional values and not be in a homosexual relationship. Because I think children are greater than sex. What you're presenting is a religious argument, which they would just reject because they would say,
no, I know.
I don't believe in God.
Well, that's where I'm going with this. So it's like, all right, so then what is it that happened? Is it just that?
It's not that they don't believe in God.
Is it something genetically that takes place? Is it something that hormonally that takes place?
If you
genetics have never been proven that it's genetic.
So it's hormonal.
That's why I say preference.
So, and
preference is the best way I can explain it, because there's no genetics that say, "Oh, you're going to be gay."
If you present your argument to a homosexual, then they're going to say, "So you don't think I'm a child of God? Only you are because you prefer women."
No one is a child of God until they accept Jesus. That's something you have to understand. With the fall comes basically rejection. When Adam and Eve sinned, when they were cast out, what it means is separation. So God, in that separation, started the plan to reconcile us to God. And that reconciliation comes through Jesus. So the whole idea is, because we sinned, we're separated. There is this wall between us. And in order to get past this wall, there needs to be a price be paid for that sin, because the sin is the wall, and the product of sin is death. So we're all basically facing death, because everyone who moved to this side, which is everyone, Adam and Eve, after them, what we have is a sinful nature. We are going to sin no matter what. So whether you're gay or straight, you're going to hell. It doesn't matter. What changes things is your faith in Christ, because what Christianity says, what Jesus says is, I'm going to pay the price for you to be able to climb over that wall, or not climb, walk past that wall where that door was blocked before. I will open that door by my blood. I will pay for that price, and you can walk through it. So whether you're straight, whether you're gay, you're not getting past that door. You're not getting past that door unless the blood of Jesus covers you. So it's not an issue of, if you're gay, you're a child of God. If you're straight, you're a child of God. Nobody's a child of God unless you recognize Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
Okay, so are there no homosexuals that recognize Jesus as their
Lord and Savior? There are.
So then, does that change?
What do you mean? Does that change?
Does that change their outcome, whether they go to hell or heaven?
I mean, if they recognize Jesus as their Lord and Savior, they're going to heaven. But
even if they're gay,
gay. Here's the thing: it's one thing to be your Savior. It's another thing to be your Lord. If he's your Lord, you also will follow what he has to say and what to do. And Jesus says, a man shall leave his mother and father. He quotes Genesis 2:24, and he shall hold fast to his wife. So Jesus believes in what you would call a conventional relationship. So if Jesus is both Lord and Savior, you would go for a traditional relationship.
Husband and wife.
Correct.
Having children.
Correct.
I just think with, I mean, like you said, I've never met an individual that was, homosexual that says, yeah, this is what, if I had a choice, this is what I would be.
What do you mean?
Meaning, like,
yes, that's what I said too.
Yeah. So I agree with that. But then to say that, God made a man and a woman, and everybody else, basically, you're kind of screwed, because unless you fall into these parameters, that you can't say that.
Everyone's screwed.
Because everybody was created by God.
No,
right?
That's where you're mistaken. Everyone's already screwed. The gay and the straight, they're already all screwed. Now you're saying, oh, but the straight person has an advantage. Nobody has an advantage. The only advantage you have is Jesus. Whoever is willing to accept him has the advantage.
And everybody can accept him.
Correct.
The alphabet people, anybody can accept him. Because, again, they were all created by God.
Correct. Anybody can accept him. You're totally right. Anybody could accept him, But with acceptance also comes what you would call discipleship. Now you have to also follow him, and the things he says you have to do, and you have to do your best in trying. No one's perfect. I'm gonna fall short of that. You're gonna fall short. Everybody's gonna fall short. But that's the next step, is discipleship, is trying to be more like him.
Interesting. Look, as time is going on, there's something
Man.
something just coming back to us. Again, Armenians, Christians, are we the most religious people in the world? No, we're not. But
Yeah.
Every single show, not every single show, but majority of the shows that we've done where somebody who's a follower of Christ, very religious individual, comes in, they'll say something, it just sticks to us. And as time goes on, we begin to follow more and more of these certain values as far as Christian values and the Word of God. But it's just so fascinating how it just keeps coming back, keeps coming back, keeps coming back.
I would say one of the greatest arguments for Christianity, it's the fact that what kind of culture it can create, and how good of a product it can make. You look at countries that became Christian and truly try to follow the Bible as best they could. They seem to be thriving now. Like, some of them are obviously falling away from God and things are getting worse. But like, you look at Europe, majority of the countries, the Scandinavian countries, what were they? They were Vikings.
Yes.
They believe in Norse mythology and all that stuff. They became Christians. Every single one of them has a Christian flag, and that had a lot to do with the fact that they conquered England. When they conquered England, instead of like revolting and just being awful and being difficult, England, they were Christian, and they loved their neighbor, even though that neighbor of theirs had conquered them. They loved them to the point where they're like, you know what? Maybe we want to be Christians too. And that's how Christianity spread.
Yeah.
That's one of the coolest things about Christianity. It doesn't spread by the sword. It can't. It just literally can't, because you have to accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and you actually have to put down the sword in some ways. And not in every way, but I believe in self-defense, but you have to put down the sword. So Christianity's spread is like I said, the product that Christianity makes, those who follow Christianity, like the countries that they I would say are the most morally upright. I would say the fact that the way it spreads is completely different than any other religion. That it requires no violence. That's unusual, and it requires no force, because typically, and I'm not just saying Islam, but every other religion, like whatever religion you want, it was enforced by the state. Whatever the state held as a religion, the Romans, the Buddhism, whatever country you want to take, whether the India, Hinduism, there was a compartment of military force, or state force. I shouldn't say military force. So that's what's so cool about Christianity. It required no violence in order for it to spread. I'm not saying there wasn't violence. A lot of times Christians were killed, and a lot of times Christians did the killing, unfortunately, but it was spread through basically love.
You follow the 10 Commandments. That's basically where it is.
And those 10 Commandments are basically, Jesus shortened them to 2. You shall love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your might, and with all your spirit, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus says all the commandments are basically on this. All 613 of them are this.
Are those 2 commandments, basically. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Anything else we want to cover before we call it a show?
I was gonna. Well, this is a
thinking.
No, this is a more topic of going back to UFC. I was going to talk to you about, because you hear a lot of arguments about fighter pay.
Oh yeah.
Do you really think UFC is exploiting their fighters, considering how much revenue they actually generate?
Exploiting might not be the best word, but we're not getting the best deal, is the way I would put it. And the reason why we're not getting the best deal, I think, is because we're not like a team sport. You don't have 50 or 100 players on one team, talking to each other and be like, bro, this is bullshit. Let's do something about it, right? We're all very individualistic, and we don't actually communicate with other people. And so it's very hard. I know people have talked about like unionizing. I don't love the idea of a union, because what happens is, look at schools, teachers. Because of unions, I think a lot of teachers are awful, because once they get into what is it called when they become tenure,
Yeah,
they suck.
Yeah.
They know they're not getting fired. They're not going anywhere.
Well, not only that, the unions get rich, the attorneys get rich, and
Yeah.
the fighters get screwed.
What I would say is, what's the word I'm looking for? I would like to see basically athletes going to negotiations as a group. So not a union, but instead of negotiating single athlete at a time, but you do it as a group. And this is something managers can do. What you basically do is you have managers work with each other, be like, hey, we can present a strong front. This is a better path towards that. But the UFC is so smart with dealing with that. This is what I think they do is they pick a few managers that they like. They have a good relationship with them, and they work together. And what they do is with the other managers, they push them out. Man, this is probably going to get me in trouble because this is my theory, at least. I don't know for sure. What they do is they push out the other managers. And so if you want to be an athlete and you want to be in the UFC, you're going to go to the manager that has more fighters, right? So you're going to go to that manager, and that manager is going to take you. But that manager also pretty much loves the UFC and works with the UFC and doesn't want to ruin his relationship with the UFC and wants to keep the 100 fighters that he has, right? So they're not going to start a union, or they're not going to start a whatever you want to call it, a team to better negotiate contracts.
Yeah.
I don't think even a union is necessary. I think what they should do is probably something of, like, let's say in the realm of, for instance, this last event you guys had, what was it, UFC 317, right? Yeah.
It's so hard to remember the number. Like, you tell me the names, it's like, yeah, of course, Taporia, Charles Oliveira. Yeah, I remember that card.
Let's say UFC made $10 million off of this event, just the event itself. I'm not talking about sponsorships and all this other jazz. We're talking about just, let's say, tickets. They made $10 million. And if there were 10 matches, so 20 fighters on the card, that 10 million should be split between those
100 million, or did you say 10 million? 10 million.
Yeah, that 10 million should be split between those 20 fighters, obviously not equally, based on ranking, based on record, based on obviously the main card, and then the
ticket sales,
everything.
I would actually push back against that, and I would say 50-50. So 5 million of that should be given to the fighters, the other 5 million to the, because the UFC works, bro. I'm not against.
No, I'm not saying that. So that, look, I'm not talking about pay-per-view. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about just those ticket sales.
Are you talking about the gate?
Oh,
yeah, the gate. Yeah,
no, the gate's only like a couple of million. That wouldn't,
or even whatever, even if it's a few million. Let's say.
No, I believe it should be more 50-50. The reason why I don't do gate is because sometimes they don't even have a gate. Then where's the money there? The athletes get nothing. So what I would say is, it should be like a 50-50. The UFC makes 50%, and then the athletes make 50%. That's more ideal. I would even be okay with 60-40, because I know how much the UFC has to do, how much work they have to do. So I understand it's not easy, and they've done this for years, and it's a big business, and they deserve that number. I would be okay with that. But I don't know how accurate the numbers are. I would have to look deeper into the numbers, and you got to really look into their accounting stuff and their tax revenues. But what I would say is, I think we're around like getting anywhere between 7% to 10% of the actual money,
as in the fighters.
And the lower you are, the less you're getting. So a first fight for you, you're getting 10 and 10. So if you win, you make $20,000. If you lose, you make $10,000 as a professional athlete.
This is right, fresh off the boat, basically.
Yes.
Because I hear numbers like, oh yeah, I made $10,000. Like, okay, $10,000 to fight in the UFC.
You only get to like 4 fights a year on average, if you're fighting a lot. Actually,
that's assuming if you're not injured, you're at
exactly
$40,000.
Yeah,
but then you have coaches, you have a camp, you have all that to pay as well.
Yeah. Yes.
Do they pay for travel?
Oh, not everyone. You get yourself and one other person,
and then everybody else you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Ooh, see, I mean that
Yeah,
That adds up, man. And especially now that the sponsorships are gone off of the shorts.
yeah, we do get from some of those sponsors. So we do get like Venom currently, I believe. We
Yeah.
don't get the, for example, there's the crypto thing. We don't get anything from that, but we get some sponsorships.
Yeah, because I know the big the big fighters get the monster and the crypto
Yes.
and stuff, but you see some of the other fighters, especially the prelims.
Yeah.
They're just you can tell that, you know what, they're fighting to get ranked and to make it up that ladder.
Yeah, it's not like baseball where like a guy who's not even starting or whatever will probably make close to $1 million a year. We're not like that. We're just, unfortunately, we're not. I would love there to be more money in the business, but we're not there yet. There was a lawsuit. I don't know if you guys heard about that, and it had to do with the UFC, how it's monopolizing things, and they won the lawsuit, and I believe it's like it was around $350 million. That money, part of it will go back to the fighters. When I say part of it, because the lawyers are getting like maybe 20 to 30%.
Of course
fees
they are.
and things like that. So we're not getting the full amount. And from what I understand is, if it actually had gone to trial, because this was a settlement, we could have got 2.5 times more.
Was this after the Strikeforce purchase?
Yeah, this was recently.
Okay.
This
just
was
happened.
October 2024, $260 million to fighters after a decade-long lawsuit.
How
Wow.
much to the fighters?
260.
The rest of it must have gone to the lawyers then, because it was supposed to be at 350 something. I think it was $350 million, which makes sense. 30%.
But see,
10 years.
So it's saying in 2022,
There's a-
fighters' share dropped to 15.5% from 17.5 in 2021, and back in 2012, it used to be 18.6%, whereas NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL,
should be 50.
it's about 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I'm 60-40 even makes sense to me, just because how
40
much,
to the fighters, 60 to
yes.
UFC.
But we're not there yet. We're not even close to that. And remember, that 15% you're looking at, that 18% you're looking at, most of that goes to guys like Conor. Most of that goes to the big names. It's not like everybody's getting
Right.
that. Like some guys are getting pretty much nothing. So, you know, there's definitely that. And there's another lawsuit coming in, I believe, that they're going to settle on. If this current lawsuit hadn't settled and actually had gone to court, there was a possibility that we would have got 2.5 times more, meaning instead of $350 million, closer to $1 billion.
And I'm sure these attorneys knew that, and they settled it right away.
Well, I mean, they settled originally. They settled for less, and the judge, I believe, said no, this is too little.
So he added.
He actually increased the number, and then, you know.
But they didn't want to drag it into court because they knew they were going to
No.
they were going to cough up more.
Well, I think I don't know why, but the UFC lawyers didn't want to, and neither did the UFC. Obviously, they were like, "Bro, this is a win-win. Let's take it." And this is what I would say is what you call a conservative approach. You're like, I could go to court, get 2.5 times more. I could lose more.
Yeah.
So you don't risk it.
Beneil, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today, man. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, brother.
And we
Thank
wish you
man.
the best of luck with your future fights, and hopefully we see you with the belt in the next couple of
Yeah,
years.
Lord willing, man. That's the only reason why I'm in the sport is to be a champion. I'm not here just to fight.
Well, know this, man. When you're in that octagon, you're fighting. The WiseNuts are going to be rooting for you.
There we go.
All right, brother. Guys, today's episode will be up and running on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all major platforms mañana. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. See you guys all next week.